It's time for another Dice Tower review with Brian Hoier.
Hi, and welcome to the Dice Tower's first ever iOS board game review. My name is Brian Hoier, and for our first episode, we're going to look at Days of Wonder's Small World. Small World is a game that many people are probably familiar with, and to be perfectly honest, it was my first adventure into the designer board game, if you will. So I really enjoyed the board game, and it holds a place that's near and dear to my heart. As for the iOS version, well, I'll let you know my opinions after the review. For now, let's just take a look at the iPad. As you can see from the title screen, they've used the exact same art assets that they used for the board game, so if you are a fan of the visual style before, you'll be happy with that here. For people new to the game, there's a quick rules option here on the main menu. If you click play, you'll come to a screen that lets you choose a single player against the computer game or a two-player game, and it is not pass and play. You can actually leave the system sitting out like a board, gather around it, and play it like you would a traditional board game. We're going to play a single-player game. Your next screen is where you choose the race that you want to play as. The right side shows the different races: halflings, wizards, elves, giants, a bunch of typical fantasy races. And on the left side over here is different bonuses they can have. Like here we have the commando halflings, the hill wizards, the dragon master elves, etc. These are picked at random, so every time you play the game you'll have a different mixture of races and bonuses. So you can play the game many times and never see the same matchup twice. The first option is halflings, and if I were to choose them, over here it'll tell me a little bit about the halflings. The number 6 there tells me I get 6 characters to place on the map at any time. And then down below is the bonus. The commando halflings. Commando says I may conquer any region with 1 less race token than normal. And I also get 4 more halflings, so the 6 and 4 means I'll have 10 players to place on the map at any given time. To speed things up, I'll pick the halflings, but if I were to pick something further down, for instance the Dragon Master Elves, I would have to pay a gold and place on the halflings, place a gold on the wizards, and then I could take the elves down there. The next player would be able to choose the halflings or wizards and get that gold piece I had placed on there as a bonus. I'll go with the halflings. The reason the gold is so important is because that is basically, essentially, what your victory points are. You get a gold for every land you occupy at the end of your turn, and that adds up at the end of the game. The person with the most gold wins. Down here, if I were to click on this gold piece next to my name, it says I have 5 gold currently. Everyone starts with 5. If I click the crown down there, it says what round we're on out of 10. So we're on round 1 of 10. At the end of 10 rounds, the game ends automatically. Down here, it shows 10 halflings. That's how many people I can place up here on the board. And then if I click on this, again, it'll go up and give me information on my halflings and what their bonuses are in case I've forgotten, which is nice for new players. So to place my men, I just click and drag them, and it takes 2 for every land you want to conquer. However, if you go to mountains, or a land that currently has a race on it, you have to add 1 for every other marker. So mountains would be the 2 plus 1 for mountains. It'll take 3 to conquer the mountains, and it would take 3 to conquer them. I'll finish placing my characters to end the turn. And if I don't have enough people left, for instance I need extra halflings and I only have 1 left to take over this race, it'll roll a dice and add that to my number of characters. I rolled a 0, I don't have enough, so if you notice, it did not give me that land. Afterwards, you can redeploy your troops. For instance, if I don't want 2 halflings down here, I can take 1 and put it on any one of my other lands to reinforce that one. When you're finished, click Done, and your turn is over. You get 1 gold for every land you occupy, plus any bonuses you may get. The computer has now taken its turn, and as you can see, it has chosen to come down here and take over some of my regions and knock me off the board. Thus, this time, I'll get less gold. Now, I can keep playing. As you can see, I have 4 halflings left, and I can keep duking it out and taking over more land, but eventually you're going to spread yourself too thin and you're going to be out of units to replace because you have to leave a unit on a land if you want to keep it and get points for it. You can't completely leave it unoccupied. So eventually, when you run out of players, you do what they call putting your race into decline. I click down here, the word decline pops up, I hit that. Do I really want to enter my race into decline? Yes. And now basically I can't play as them anymore, but they stay on the board as a race that is going extinct. I still get gold for them. It goes to round 2 now. And in round 2, the computer will take its turn and probably wipe me out completely with my luck. He's redeploying, and now it'll add up his gold. Since I went to decline, I'm not out of the game. I just have to pick a new race. I'll go with the Hill Wizards. But again, I could pick any one of these if I wanted to. And I'll click pick. And now I get to place my wizards on the board, just like I did originally. And the game goes on for 10 rounds. At the end, it adds up all of your gold, and the person with the most gold wins. So there you have it, the iOS version of Small World. Now, the pros and cons. As far as cons, we left the sound out for our videoing sake, but the music is slightly annoying, and you'll probably want to turn it down or possibly off in the options. Secondly, it's only 2-player, whereas the board game goes anywhere from 2 to 5 players, and the board actually scales to the number of players you have. So if you have more players, there's more land, a larger map to conquer, and that's kind of a cool thing. I do like the fact that it is not pass and play. You can do 2 players, they're around the iPad, you don't have to move it around, you can just sit there and enjoy a game. And it does give you the option to play against the computer, so if you're alone, you can get in a game of Small World anytime you want on the go. Great graphics, same art style they've always had before, and it really is a fun game. And as I said at the beginning, it's one of my favorites, and it was one of the first ones I ever played. I like the iOS version. It's a pretty good deal for the money, and I would highly recommend it. I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up, and if you haven't gotten it already, you should definitely think about it.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.